Hello, Sula here from MistyHilltops.com. Thanks for stopping by. In this video, I'm working on a 6x12 scrapbook spread titled Bato Boat. I'll be scrapping a number of photos, and I'm working with a digital scrapbook kit Northwest Beauty by Misty Cato from Shoppe Designs. I also used some stamps and dies, and this is a scrapbook album that I started years ago and decided to add more pages to it. And so I'm starting by doing the stamping part because that takes a little while to dry sometimes, and I don't want to smudge the stamp. So this is the first thing I do when I leave myself with some stamping that I didn't do in the preparation phase of this. So here I am stamping the word Bato. Bateau, I hope I'm actually saying it right and I'm not butchering this word. It's in Paris, it's the taxi boats that are doing tours on the Seine River. So it's just the name that they call these boats. And so we went on a tour with that boat. Well, these are taxi boats you get on and off. We bought a day ticket, and then we were allowed to get on and off all day long, which was super fun. It was a fun thing to do in Paris. So once I have stamped this word, I put it aside and I clean my stamps a little, and yet now I can get ready to work with the actual page here. So I'm still running a card along the edges of my papers just to roughen up the edges, and that gives my pages some dimension, or at least the papers. They get some dimension, and it throws some shadows on the page, and so it just improves the contrast a lot when I do this. So if I want the papers to contrast each other. Now you see there's this dark blue paper strip, or two of them, so there will be contrast, but I still like to add those that to these pages, the roughening up. So I know there's tools for this, but I just simply use a card that I don't need. It just doesn't matter to me, and it works, I think, probably just as fine as those tools that you can get. So if you have a card lying around at home that you have no use for, then this is one way you could actually make use of this card. So I'm doing this to all the papers, and this is from, like I said, from an album that I started many years ago, probably almost 10 years or so. And then I got distracted. This was before I even got my silhouette. I remember when I started this album, I started in Photoshop, and I used to hand cut everything, and now I have, obviously, that was around the time when I actually got my silhouette die cutting, or not die cutting, my silhouette cutting machine. And so but then I got distracted doing all kinds of other projects with it. So anyway, I was happy to start working on it, and I do like working with a 6x6 that is 2 6x6 pages, so that's a 6x12 layout. The big pages, they're too big for me. It's 12x12, but 6x12 double page spread, so to speak, works just fine for me. And I have the photos. The photos are usually size 2x3, 2x2, 3x3, that kind of size that I'm working with on these pages. And I think there is one that is a 2x1.5 or something size as well with these tiny pages. But I have it all set up where I just plug in some photos. But here I am struggling with putting down the paper strip. I didn't want to use a whole wide paper strip to save myself some paper, so that's always the tricky part. And then the glue dries before I actually get to put it down, but I feel like I need to put it down before I need to put that main strip of paper down first, the bigger one, so that I know where to put this smaller one. But I think I finally got it. It's just a little fiddly, but I was also wise enough not to put glue on the entire strip. And now it doesn't matter, because now I have a place to where I will align it, and so I can just go ahead without even that other paper strip on top yet. And I'm just making sure that it's straight, this paper strip, before I actually press it down, so that it'll not be crooked on this page. So that's what I'm making sure here right now. And then I'll have to repeat the same thing with this paper strip. And so I'm making sure that there's a little gap underneath. I use a toothpick for that, a little gap, so that it's easier to slide in there. And I think this goes a little faster than the first try, the first paper strip. And I left myself a little bit of extra space. You see it goes beyond the edge on the side, but this one's already halfway done. And now all I need to do is just put that main paper strip, that bigger paper strip, down. So the trickiest part is done. The two pages are connected, which I will have to cut apart again at the end. But I think what I did was, usually I print these things, but the two dark blue paper strips are actually just paper strips that I cut from cardstock, colored cardstock. And here are the photos. Now you can see, like, it's a small page. It's a 6 by 12. And these photos are small, but I think for me, they have all the information I want to see on the photos. And so I enjoy working with smaller projects like this. Now, before I start gluing things down, I always put down things so that I have an idea where they go and where I need to put things there. But because the edges are roughed up, things always like to slip and slide around the page. And here you see me where I start with a photo. It seems random, but it's actually not. It's the photo that is next to the center line there that goes down between the two pages. So that's where I start aligning, and then I work my way outward, basically from the inside of the page. You see I do the same with the other side. These are because I have that line, and so I can, that center line there that goes down in the middle, and then everything goes out in both directions from there. It would be trickier to do it the other way around, where I start with the two large photos and then I run out of space or something. So I was very conscious of what I was doing there, starting with the center, using the center line there. So now I have this large, long paper flag that I want to glue down at the bottom part of this. And once this is down, and then I don't exactly mirror the two pages. Well, you will see this when I put down the two larger photos. One will be higher and one will be lower on the page. And so I just like to keep things a little, not too synchronized and too much the same. And so here I am adding the photos from the lower part, and you saw me there's that other paper flag that I will add, and so I wanted to leave that strip there, because one of the things is when working with such tiny photos, you don't really want to cover up much of the photo. So I wanted to make sure that that strip wouldn't cover up half my photo, which would happen with this small size photos. And so I'm paying attention to these things as I glue them down. Now I'm ready to put down this one larger. I think this is a 2 by 3 size. And then you see me there. This photo will go a little lower than the other one. So it is, in a way, it is mirroring, but mirroring with flipping things as well. So here I'm ready to put down this paper strip, and then that one goes between the photos, well, on top of the photos, but and then I'm ready to start embellishing. So there's a bunch of embellishments that I used from the digital scrapbooking kit. that come with the kit, and then there's a few of my word art pieces. I do create my own word strips for this, not for this page particularly, but I have word strips that I create for my projects and that I use on a whole bunch of, pretty much every one of my projects. So these paper strips are actually available for download on my blog, mistyhilltops.com. And so if you're interested, what I do is I just print them on cardstock, then I cut them apart, and then I can use them on my projects, and they make just some wonderful additions. And here I'm ready to put down where the title will go, and that title word will actually go straight across the center line there. So I have to be aware of that there wouldn't be, one of the letters wouldn't be cut apart. But there's 2 letters on one page and 2 letters on the other page, basically. And here are some more flowers and some more, these are usually die cuts, because the flowers that come with the kit obviously are like photographs of actual flowers. And so I don't think they look good, really good. Like I'd rather use real flowers, even if they're paper flowers, but use real flowers on my spreads. And here I'm still adding some more of the word strips that I have ready, and so this is probably from a summer or a travel word strip collection or word strip file. So I have several word strip files, and then I just sometimes I mix and match and I use them from different files, so I don't always remember which way. So here I'm still adding that cluster as well, and there's more flowers there and more of the other. This is a word art piece that comes with the collection or with this digital scrapbooking kit, and here is the title that I stamped at the beginning. And so now hopefully these things are dried, and again you see me again, it seems like I am starting in the middle of the word, but it's actually because that's where the center line is, and so I'm going outward in both directions. This is actually watercolored paper that just hits exactly the tone of yellow that is in the paper, in the pattern papers there, and so I'm really happy that I was able to use one of my dies to cut the word boat there. And here's this Bato stamped title part that goes on this side. So we only spent like one day in Paris itself and one day in Versailles, the castle, and so or the palace, the royal palace there. And so it was the perfect thing to do for a one-day trip, to do the Bato boat thing where we were able to get on and off and just see a whole bunch of sites, not really visiting a lot of the sites, but we got to see Notre Dame before it burned down. That was before it burned. So that's special. In hindsight, that was special. So here this is one of the pages where I actually have some some journaling. And so here I am cutting apart the strips. I like to keep the strips together so that I don't have to puzzle together the order of the word strips again. And so I just cut them out one by one and then can add them onto the page where I would like to put them. And I have them on both sides of the page because I'm explaining a bit about the Bato boat and how we were hopping on and off. It was great because what you can do is you walk around, that gets you tired, then you get back on the boat, you sit around, but you still get to see some sights because you're just taking a boat ride. But it's just a wonderful mixture of of activity and then having a little rest and enjoying the scenery and the sights, and then again walking around a little more. So for a day that is very busy and full of activity, that was just the perfect way of spending that day in Paris with our friends. We were a group of friends that went there for a weekend trip. And here I'm making sure that I have the right word strip or journaling strip in the right order, because that would be a little messed up if the order would be wrong. So, but that's why I leave this to cut out at the very end, so that I don't have to think hard about how was it put together or how was it meant to be when it was put together in the first place. So here's the 2 last little strips there that need to go there. And then I have a few more pieces of embellishments, these small flowers that I still wanted to glue down. These are also die cut pieces. And then, the 2 word strips I decided not to use. And then this is what I do. I flip my page around, because then I can use the back side where I have the line there to cut. But I'm also turning it around to make sure that I'm not cutting into a photo or something. And then I need to clip the 2 pieces of paper strips there. And this is the end of this page. I'm going to leave you with some more close-ups. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.